"Just say I kept an eye on you while I was on furlough," Henry said, "and you aren't as clever as you think you are, not by half." "That was most ungentlemanly of you, Henry." "You had your chance to spend more time with me then, Julia, and you chose not to. I therefore chose to discover where you were spending your time."
"Oh, how unworthy, even of you, Henry. Still, it would be your word against mine, and whom do you think Grandpapa will believe? Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to bed."
"You are not walking away from this, Julia."
Henry's voice next plunged to a murmur Phoebe could no longer make out. Like a mongrel's growl, it showered her arms with goosebumps. The sound of shuffling feet was followed by a sharp "Oh!" from Julia. Phoebe's hands shot instinctively toward the recessed fingerpulls on the doors, but she froze at the Marquis's next words. "This is how it's going to be, my dear. You and I are going to announce our engagement to our families tomorrow morning, and shortly thereafter to the world. There will be parties and planning, and yes, there will be a wedding. You will marry me, or you'll marry no one, ever. I'll see to that." "You don't even know whether or not anything untoward happened last summer," Julia said, with all the condescension of which Phoebe knew she was capable, yet with a brittle quality that threatened her tenuous composure. "You're bluffing, Henry."
"Am I? Are you willing to risk it? What would Grandpapa think of his darling girl if he only knew the truth?"
Phoebe's breath caught in her throat at the thud of something hitting the rug inside. She gripped the bronze fingerpulls just as Julia cried out, "Let go of me!" Phoebe thrust both doors wide, perfectly framing the scene inside. Julia, in her pale rose poiré gown, with its silver-beaded trim, stood with her back bowed in an obvious attempt to pull free of Henry's hold. A spiralling lock of blonde hair had slipped from its pins on one side to stream past her shoulder. At her feet, a vase lay on its side, thankfully unbroken, the flowers and water it held now blending with the Persian weave. 4 empty indentations in the rug testified to the side table having been rudely knocked askew. Meanwhile, Henry's dark hair stood on end, no doubt from raking his fingers through it. His brown eyes smouldering and his cheeks ruddy with drink, he had his hands on her. On her! His fingers were wrapped so tightly around Julia's upper arms, they were sure to leave bruises. For a moment, no one moved. Phoebe stared. They stared back. Henry's bow tie hung loose on either side of his neck, his tailcoat and waistcoat unbuttoned with all the familiarity of a husband in his own home, his garnet shirt studs gleaming like drops of blood upon snow. Anger twisted his features. Then recognition dawned, of Phoebe, of the impropriety of the scene she had walked in on, and a measure of the ire smoothed from his features. He released Julia as though she were made of hot coals, turned away, and put several feet between them. Phoebe steeled herself with a breath and forced a smile. "Oh, hello there, you two. Sorry to barge in like this. I thought everyone had gone to bed. Don't mind me. I only came for a book, one I couldn't find in the library. Julia, do you remember where Grandpapa stashed that American novel he didn't want Grams to know he was reading? You know, the one about the boy floating up that large river to help his African friend." "I don't know." Julia looked from Phoebe to Henry and back again. She brushed the errant lock behind her ear before hugging her arms around her middle. "I'll help you look. Good night, Henry." Were you just going up?" Without letting her smile slip, Phoebe glared at Henry and put emphasis on going up. A muscle bounced in the hard line of his jaw. His eyes narrowed, but he bobbed his head. "Good night, ladies. Julia, we'll talk more in the morning." He strode past Phoebe without a glance. Several long seconds later,